All right, so this is week 8 Saturday, this is week 8. Quarter 3, semester 2 on the assignment here for unit 7 on algebraic expression. It says find the value of each expression below for the given values of the variables, and we're going to be substituting a little bit. Okay, so for the first one, you have x equals -4. I'm going to plug that right over here. X goes, or Y goes right there. So 3 times -4 minus 2 times, is that a -8 or just a +8? So then remember your rules for integer, -18 or 28. For B, put the 3 right there. 4 times parenthesis 3 squared, which is 3 times 3 is 9. So your answer is 36. Are you checking your answers as I'm going over this? I hope so. Okay, be careful when it is a negative with a square. So 4 times -5 squared. The reason I ask you guys to be careful with this is because you got to see this part as a -5 times a -5, which is a +25. So 4 times 25 is 100. What was your answer for C?
My answer was 400.
400 is not correct. It's 25. 25 times 4 is 100. -5 times -5 is a positive. Remember how I told you that if you have a negative number and it's even power, like 2, 4, 6, 8, it's always gonna be a positive. If it's a negative number to an odd power, it's always negative. Like -3 to the 5th power, it will be a negative answer. Okay?
Yeah.
So for D, you're gonna have 3 parentheses, 2 times -4 plus 3. So that's 3, -8 plus 3, which is 3 times -5, and your answer is -15. Okay. E, 55 figurines of a porcelain doll can be shipped in one case. The expression 55C represents a number of figurines that can be shipped in C number of cases, which makes sense because if it's just one case, like C equals 1, then you know that 55 times 1, there are only 55 figurines, right? Now, if C equals 2, you know 55 times 2 is 110 figurines, right? And depending on how you change C, you just multiply to 55 because each box contains 55 figurines. How many figurines can be shipped with the number of cases shown below? Before substitute only simplify the value, I should not see any arithmetic on your paper. So for 10 cases, it's just 55 times 10, right? 1 times 55 is 55. How many zeros do you have? 1 0. So 550 figurines, right? 18 cases, it'll be 55 times 18, right? And she said, what does it say? What does that say? This part right here, I'm underlining. Pay attention.
I don't know what it says.
Be something to substitute only, then simplify. I should not see any arithmetic on your paper. I mean, so 55 times 18. So I don't know what she wants you to do with that. So if I multiply this, I mean, you can approximate this and say 55 times 20, that's 20 cases, right? So 55 times 2 will give me 110. There's an extra 0, so that's 1,100 figurines, right? But then if you're going to do 55 times 18, 44,550,99, that's going to be 990 figurines, right? Okay. The rental fee for a bike is $10 plus $3 for each hour the bike is used. This can be modeled with the expression 3h plus 10. So the 3 here is from the $3 for each hour, and 3 times h is the number of hours, right? So 10 is just going to be a flat fee, okay? So even if you do it for 1 hour, it's still 10 plus 3 times 1 if you rent the bike for 100 hours, it's 3 times 100 plus 10, right?
Yeah.
How much would you pay if you rent a bike for 8 hours? So 3 times 8 plus 10, 24 plus 10, $34, right? Mr. Green's math class is planned trip to IMAX Theater. It will cost $75 for the school bus and $13 per student. So this right here, that's a flat fee. So even if you have one student, they're still going to charge you 75 bucks, right? If you have 100 students, it's still going to be $75 plus 13 times 100, right? How will the number of students affect the cost? Well, what do you think? How will the number of students affect the cost? Well, the flat rate is $75, right? Regardless of how many students, right? So it will be more cost effective if what? If you have more students or have less students? Have more students, right? Because if you just have one student, it's still going to be $75 times 13 times 1, right? So it will be more cost effective if you just have more kids. Okay. What value varies in this situation? How many students there are? So you could that's good. So yeah. The number of students. Yeah. How will you find how much money the class will need for this trip? So if S equals the number of students, right? Then the cost of the trip is equal to $75 plus 13S, right? What you did. But make sure you put down S represents the number of students. You put an S right there, but we don't know what S represents, right? So you got to be careful with that. If S represents the number of students attending, write an expression to show the cost for the bus. The cost for the bus is going to be $75 flat fee. So is that 75? Okay. The total cost, 13S, you can say T equals, if total cost is T equals 13S plus 75. You got to make sure you put the little variables in there, okay? The cost per student. Cost per student is just 13S. Is that what you wrote there? I'm not sure what that is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the second page of this. This is the second half of it. So for 3, Jim drives 35 miles daily for work. How will the number of days Jim work affect the total number of miles Jim drives for a given period of time? Okay. So every day he drives 35 miles, right? So if I say X equal the number of days that Jim is driving, right? Okay. Then you could say the total miles driven is going to be 35 miles times X. Does that make sense? X represents the number of days. What value stays the same in the situation? 35 miles daily. Yeah, that's good. Did you do this by yourself? Oh, good. That's good. Say, I feel like you're getting better at math. What values varies in this situation? How many times he drives to work? You should say how many days he drives to work. How many days he drives to work, which is equal to X, right? If D represents the number of days Jim drive, write an expression showing the total number driven. So 35 equals total, you gotta write equal, okay? And you just go total number of miles driven, total number of miles driven, right? And we're not gonna use X because they're using D, so just to be consistent, we're gonna put D instead, okay? Write each word phrase as an algebraic expression. Okay, so this is 6 less than implies it goes at the end. Okay, product is times 3t minus 6, right? The product of w and x, you should w times 8, which is 8w. Okay, the sum, or r divided by 15. So we're not gonna do this because she doesn't like that. Do you understand? Okay, and instead, make sure you put r over 15, okay? 9 more than twice x. So how would you write that? What was your answer? Nine more than twice x. Mm-hmm. 2x or 2x plus 9. With the plus, if it's a plus, you could use the commutative property of addition, right? Which is a plus b equals b plus a. Do you see that? You can't do that for subtraction. A minus b is not the same thing as b minus a. Do you see that? Okay. Okay. The sum of x and 8, the quotient of 12 and x, the sum of 3 times a and 35, like that, right? 6 times the sum. Okay, so 6 times the sum of number x and 8, right? A number x less 9. Remember, this is not the same thing as 9 minus x. Do you see that? It's not the same, okay? Because 9 here is negative, right? So you can't all of a sudden switch it and make 9 positive, okay? So you just need to write this part. Don't write the second half, but I just want you to see it, okay? 15 less than. So whenever this is less than, you put at the end. The product implies multiply. 4 times 11, like that, minus 15, okay? A number n increased by the difference of a number x and 7, right? So you start off with this piece first, okay? Difference of a number x and 7. So x minus 7, right? A number n increased by. So then plus n. Does that make sense? Or you could do n plus x minus 7. Because this isn't changed. Do you see how the n is positive here and the n is still positive there? X is positive here, x is still positive here. 7 is negative, 7 is negative. Okay, so that didn't change. The commutative property is fine. And that concludes your homework. All right, that's it. Do you have any questions? So when you're done with this, you need to take a picture and send it to her, okay? All right.